Oh, good evening. It is 7 o'clock here in the Kansas City area. Welcome to Tea Time with TerryAnn. I am TerryAnn Porter, life coach, TA. Today's tea. Well, it is 7 o'clock p.m. Did you hear me say that? So right now it is sleepy time, honey, because it is time for me to kind of wind down a little bit. But while I'm winding down, my guest right now is in Australia, and it is, as I understand, almost 10 in the morning where you are. This woman's already halfway through her day.
I'm on English breakfast. Drink it with friends, right? Tea with friends.
Right. Oh, my friends. Oh, I tell you, I am so excited that you all are joining me tonight because I cannot wait for you to hear this amazing woman. Let me tell you just a little bit about her. Misty Henkel lives in Queensland, Australia, and is a sales trainer whose low-cost sales programs help hundreds of people every year increase their sales and make more money. She is more addictive than coffee and chocolate combined, and teaches selling the same way that Ryan Reynolds steals hearts. Misty speaks to business groups each week on the topics of closing sales and overcoming sales anxiety, and she is available to speak at corporate events from $2,000. She is well known all over the world for simplifying the sales process, and with that, she has two sales books which can be purchased directly from her. Follow simple strategies to close sales on any product or service. And also, like Ryan Reynolds, Misty is easily found on Google. Please help me, the Tea Time Princess, welcome the networking and sales queen, Misty Henkel.
Hi, guys. Hi, Kathy. I can see that you're on. Hi.
Oh, welcome, everyone. Hi, Kathy. So good to see you. Oh, ladies, I got to tell you, I met Misty at she has popped into several networkings that I have been in, and I've started some of her sales events. Let me tell you, this woman is awesome. She has got some great tips and ideas. But first of all, let's know a little bit about you. Okay, I know why I am wearing my crown, Misty. I do it to remind me who I am, whose I am, and that sometimes I need to remember to be childlike and smile a little bit more, have some fun. Why do you wear your crown?
So here's how I got it, right? I didn't start with a crown. I was known, like I've been networking for 11 years. So within the first year of me networking, I would used to go to, in my effort to work out how to make networking a sales tool, like I could see it, but then how to teach it as a sales tool, I would go to all of these networking events and like big ones, small ones, little ones, bits of training, and I would go to obscure ones and well-known, and I would see all these different people and they would cross across all these different networks. And so I think within about 6 months, I was given the title of networking queen for all the events. And that was in the first 6 months. That was ages ago. And then, from all the networking, and I run, I'm the lead volunteer at Business at Breakfast, which is now online since COVID. And I'm a co-host with HMP. So I've been co-host a couple of times, and I'm now with HMP Movie Lovers. There, it's sort of morphed from networking queen across to sales queen because I do sales trainer, right? So I do everything in the sales world. But how the actual crown came about, I never used to just wear a crown. But it was about five years ago. I was getting a new photo taken, like a business photo, an updated one, right? Which is ready for a renewal anyway. Oh, maybe not even that long ago, maybe 3 years ago. And the girl who was taking my picture, she said, so I'm going to take 3 pictures. I've gone, 3? I only need 1. And she said, yeah, well, you get 3. And I said, what am I going to use 3 for? I just need 1 business picture. And she said, well, they're for your website. And I said, I don't have a website. She said, well, I'm going to pretend you do have one. And so we're taking 3 because that's my rule. I'm going, okay, well, what are they of then? She said, so if you had a website, she said, we take the classic one. Right. And the classic one is actually me without a crown. Like that's just the classic headshot, right?
Right.
Then I'm going to take one that is about you. So if you had an about you page on your website, it would be about you. And then I'm going to take one that's you doing this thing that you do. I've gone, this thing that I do. And I said, I'm a sales trainer. I mean, how do you take a picture of that? And she said, I don't know. She said, I don't know. Maybe you're holding cash, or maybe you're holding up business cards or something. And I've gone, all of that sounds really tacky, and I don't know that I want a picture like that. And then I had this idea. I said, since I'm called the sales queen and the networking queen, I said, in that instance, I said, how about I wear a crown and a cape, carry a scepter, and you take that picture? And she said, you can have the crown, but you can't have the cape or the scepter, which was lucky because I didn't know where to get one of these things from, or I'd probably go to a costume shop. And I almost feel like saying it back now, it's almost like Johnny Depp to do Captain Jack Sparrow. What he ended up like wasn't what he'd originally gone to the movie theatre, like the executives with. What he ended up with was kind of what he was after as Captain Jack Sparrow, but he knew that whatever he went in with, they were going to dumb it down. So he went in really over the top as a pirate, like all of the teeth were golds and, like really over the top. So they've gone, okay, like where you're headed, let's pull it down a little bit. And then he ends up with actually what he wants. So I ended up with a crown, right? So the work shot of me is me with the crown, which has turned up to be this picture here. It shows up on Facebook. It shows up on Facebook. It shows up on LinkedIn. And it's good because there's not that many Misty Henkels in the world. I believe I'm it. But even if there was a couple of others, like I say, I'm easy to find on Facebook. I'm the one with the crown, right? So, and with the crown. And then the About Me one, I was always taking Jack and Noah with me everywhere. So they're little. I mean, they're 11 and 12 now, but at the time they were, well, I don't know, let's go with 7 and 8, right? And so here they are here. They've become the front page of, my second book.
Like that. Yes.
But so it's me, and I have this often in my signature block, and it'll be, the networking queen or the sales queen with her two princes. I can't work out where my camera is, with her two princes. So they've got the crowns, and then I'm sitting
the two princes. I love that.
Yeah, because I would drag them around, and they would have to learn sales, and they'd have to learn about networking. They'd often come to networking events, and sometimes, you use an 8-year-old to get business cards off someone who's not planning on handing one over. They're great, by the way. So if you want contact details from somebody, what you do, Kathy, I've got your card. What you do is you go up and say, here's my card, let's swap. And if you go to swap with someone, for a kid, right, when they go to give someone a card, well, they expect one back. And every now and then they'd come up and they go, I've got these cards. I went, how'd you get a card from that person? I've been trying to get that for years. And then I go over and go, how come you gave Jack a card, but you've never given me a card? And they said, well, here's what happened. He came over and he said, so I've got a business card, let's swap. So I took his. And he said, well, where's a card for me? And I told him I didn't have a card. And he said, this is not called you get everything and I get nothing. This is called swapping. If you don't have a card, I'll take my bag. And so I had to go through my wallet and find something. Lucky he didn't end up with someone's credit card in their effort to swap something, right? So yeah, if you want someone's contact details, take an 8-year-old. They will they know how to sell. They'll make it happen. No is not a response for them. It's we're going to make this happen no matter what. So, the boys have learned how to sell and negotiate really well. As they get older, they seem to lose it because they don't want to think about it too much. But it does sort of show that you do accidentally do that. Like, we're built with it. And then we learn to think about it later on to make that go away. But that's basically how the crown came about. And what's really ironic is I use this shot, right, the one with me with the crown, and I use the one with the boys. But the classic one, well, I just gave that as a picture to my mom because it's like I never need a classic shot ever again. And to be fair, I don't even want, I don't even want my mum to have the classic one. I'd rather have her have the one with the crown because that's what I'm used to, and I like it more. So
I love that. Oh, wow. A couple of things I got out of that was, first of all, I got to go find me an 8-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
Grandkids. My grandkids are 16 and 19.
Oh, yeah, they're too old now.
No, they're too old. I got to go find me an 8-year-old. But another thing that really intrigued me with what you said, because I've talked to a lot of people, and one of the first things they say is, well, I can't start my business. I don't have a web page yet, so I really can't step out there. You are proof. You don't have to have a web page. You just have to be present.
Yeah. So in my bio, when you said just like Ryan Reynolds, Misty too is found on Google, right? I am easily found on Google. And this is how it came about. Like I'd gone to make websites a couple of times, like over the last 11 years. And like I'd make it one year and I'd look at it and I'd learn how to do it and I'd make it. And then I'd put up some posts and the next day I'd go to do another one with the plan to do a blog like every day, just get in the habit. And then the next day I couldn't remember how I put the post up. So then I'd have to go back and read all that again. Then I couldn't make the instructions work for the web page, and then I gave up. And then, of course, the next year there was this rolling fee. I got charged again. I go, but I haven't done anything. So then I'd cancel credit cards and I'd cancel everything. I'd start with a new bank account. I'd start again. And then a year would go past and I would try it all over again. To eventually I got to the point after about 5 years, first 5 years, I'm just not going to do that anymore. In the meantime, so here's what I know about Ryan Reynolds, right? Ryan Reynolds is, in my opinion, the biggest movie star that there is currently today, or is heading that way. Other people might claim others, but the truth is he can do any genre, and he has done them. He turns up all the time. He comes to every single interview. He never appears to say no. He's got a family. He goes home to his kids and his wife. He's there's no chance of them breaking up and not being together, because he's always going home and spending time with them. He takes them with him. So he's a pretty stellar guy, but he never says no to an interview. And when somebody isn't turning up to an interview, so let's say on the Late Show, they call up Ryan and say, could you just fill in because so-and-so's not coming? Yeah, no problem. So then he goes over and he does all this, right? Now, Ryan Reynolds is a movie star. He doesn't have a website. And yet if you Google him, Google has miles and miles of information on Ryan Reynolds. How did this come about without a website? Well, it's the result of him turning up on other people's platforms all the time. Google compiled all that together and now has its information database on Ryan Reynolds. As a result of not having a website, I show up on other people's platforms all the time. Yes, I have Facebook and I have LinkedIn and I have a Google business page. I also use my Gmail account. You'll see as it scrolls through, I use my Gmail account, who's owned by Google. Isn't that interesting, right? So I advertise things in my Gmail account when I send out emails, and Google finds it and posts it up. In the meantime, I show up on other people's platforms, but I don't just get interviewed on something like this. TerryAnn, later when you turn this into a YouTube, I will collect it. I will put it into my signature block to say, oh, guess I was interviewed by TerryAnn. We did this sales class with TerryAnn. And then I will advertise your platform, look to get you have more views and you more subscribers. But as a result, as that happens, Google goes, oh, here she is over here. Let me grab her. Oh, here she is here. Here she is here. So as I'm advertising others, I'm actually advertising myself. So as a result, I'm known all over the world like Ryan Reynolds. And then one day, Ryan's going to be at an interview. You wait. It'll be like the Late Show with Jimmy Kimmel or something. And they'll go, and what about this Misty Henkel? I don't know. Her name keeps showing. We've got her in from Australia. And then they're going to pull me out of the rain.
I love it.
On screen with Ryan Reynolds, and we'll be there together.
So I don't have to pay people to raise me up in Google. I just have to show up at all kinds of places.
That's right. You don't have to pay for it. Yeah, you just show up all over the place. And then you get their YouTube, advertise their YouTube, because it's your video. It's about you. And pump up the views for your views and their YouTube site. And, go from there. And yes, I'm on Kathy's Kathy Chat. I'm all over the place as a result. Yeah, Ryan's not been on Kathy's Kathy Chat, so, he's not that famous.
Hey, Kathy, you're going to have to get hold of Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan's going to have to hunt down Kathy.
Hi, Barb. It's good to see you joined us as well. Oh, my gosh. Well, tell me more about how did you get started with this doing sales trainings?
Oh, so I'm a salesman by trade, but I've always been in love with money. I think from when I was little, I discovered, coins, and they're shiny, and I just loved them. Found out that they bought important things like chocolate, and have just always been in love with it. I've been in love with working out how to have it, how to get it, how to have my own. And then, of course, afterwards, how to, do something with it. But but really how to get it. And when I was 5, I learnt to knit. When I was 7, I learnt to crochet. I think by the time I was 7, I was making babies' booties, and I'd send them to my great-grandmother who lived in the middle of nowhere, like 10 hours drive away, and in a small town. And then she'd take them to the local bowling club. And then she would sell them for me and then send me back the cash. And my mum's friends would pay me $1 an hour to crochet them like doily sets for their bedroom. And I'd make like $50. So like I'd sit there timing like every minute and second of which I was doing it, and then I'd add it all up, and it was all big maths stuff, right? You know, and it's hard in numbers because it's in time, because it's only to 60 seconds and 60 minutes each time. So then you had to do all this like major maths solving, and it worked out to be about $1 an hour to do things. So I remember when I got paid $50 to do a doily set. That took me weeks and weeks, but it was ultimately 50 hours. And I've gone, this is so great. So then I've always gone towards jobs that pay you but have the option to give you extra cash. I'd love the idea in America where you get paid tips for working in hospitality. So in Australia, I became a barmaid. From 18, I became a barmaid with the idea of I'm going to be so good, I'm going to earn tips. In Australia, we don't get tips. We do now, but not necessarily to the initial person. It goes into a bucket at the counter, and even I don't believe in that. It's either pay the person who does it or don't. But you know, I've been to America and I've been to Canada and I've been to places where I've given tips. I get confused by tips. I just think, I don't know, just like, is $50 enough? They're like, you know, that costs more than the morning tea you just bought. I'm like, I have no idea what to pay. Just give some cash, right? It's in my wallet. So, yeah, I'd be excellent over in America at earning tips. And to be honest, when I'd go over there and get served, I'd look on and I'd think, I can do this better. Like, I can do it better, only because I work so hard, not because I'm Australian and I'm better, but because I would work so hard at making sure that people stayed until all their money was gone, right? My mum used to say to me by the time I was 24, she'd say, but Misty, you're just a barmaid. I said, no, I'm not, Mum. I'm the best barmaid in the world. People come in with no money and bad news or problems, and they leave with less money, but they're happy, and they come back the next day. That makes me very, very, very good at what it is that I do. And they don't blame me for their lack of money. And they come back the next day. And they stay because they're enjoying themselves. And because I talk to them, and you know, they get off their chest or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I just became really good. I remember one guy who came into one of the small bars I was working at one time. There was a guy walking around. He knew everything on the news, everything that's happening in town. He goes, well, that guy's really knowledgeable. I said, I'm rubbish with the news. Like, I can listen to something, I can read something in a newspaper. I don't retain any of it. And he said to me, he said, but you have something that most people don't, and it's far more important. I've gone, what is that? And he said, it's your ability to make people feel good. And I was told that when I was nearly 27. I've gone, yes, that's my thing. That is so my thing. And from there, I've gone, that's how I become so good as a barmaid. And that's how I've made sales training so easy when I do that. So I've gone from being a barmaid, which you sell products and services at the price that it's charged. There's no discounting there. Then I went into furniture, the furniture shop that I worked at here in Australia on 2 separate occasions. Mm-hmm. It was similar to Pottery Barn over in America. It's like the everyday furniture, right? That was at the price that it's marked, no discounting. Then I sold Apple computers, ironically, at the price that it's marked, no discounting. Sold patents and trademark applications. Isn't that interesting? No matter how many trademarks you put in for, each one comes at its own separate price. There is no discounting. And, of course, I'm a grocery shopper, which doesn't matter how many blocks of chocolate I buy in one hit. I'm charged the price that they market at, and they don't discount even though I buy in bulk. So it would turn out, so my sales experience of selling as a salesman is the price is the price. And people complain, but they buy it anyway. So then I now teach sales training is learn to say what it is, learn to deliver say the price, and stop talking. Let your customer complain. Get all their ideas out of their head. Let them think, say out loud whatever their thoughts are, which are mostly rhetorical. They just happen to say it out loud. Let them get their thoughts out, and then let them buy on the other side. Your job isn't to explain anything to them. Your job is to let them get their words out. And so when I simplify sales to something as simple as that, it allows people to start selling because they didn't realize there's not really that much that they have to do. And it's fun. The sales training that I do is so much fun. I've had plenty of people say, I can't unhear what you said. I didn't intend on being a salesman and I don't want to do it. And I was unhappy that I wasn't getting the sales, but I was quite happy in my belief that I'm the reason, I'm not a salesman and that's why I can't do it. But now that I've talked to you, I keep selling and I can't stop it. I can't turn it off now. I can't really see where the problem is, to be honest. Everybody wins when a salesman sells something. Customer gets the help. Salesman gets the cash, gets to live, help another person, and look after their family or the people around them. Everybody wins when something's sold. When something's not sold, everybody loses. That person doesn't get the help. The salesman, for whatever product or service it was, doesn't have the cash to live easily. They're now doing it hard. They can't look after their family properly. Economy doesn't work. So it's really important that the people who need to buy end up being allowed to complete the sale themselves, really. So, yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, the time that I have spent with you in the different networking, your sales things, you have just made me so confident and comfortable to talk to others.
It's great.
And you make it feel just like you make it feel so easy to do. I really admire you and love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it must be the barmaid in me. When I first, what's interesting, when I first started as a barmaid, I was 18 and I was very quiet. So I was quiet at school. I wanted to have heaps of friends, but in my view, I didn't. And I was too quiet and I wasn't shy. I was just quiet. I didn't know what to say, but I was happy to be around people. I just felt uncomfortable most of the time. And I'd get really frustrated that the shy people would get friends. But I was a quiet person and I didn't have them as easily as a shy person did. So becoming a barmaid was a couple of things. My dad was a barman for a while, so, I tended to model my dad a lot in the different jobs that he's done. So I was always going to do that. But later it became more about learning how to speak to people. So I started at a bowling club. And at a bowling club, think of lawn bowls, right? So it's all, older gentlemen who have been retired, about 80 odd years old, right? They go out, they play bowls, they come in and there's only one drink that they order. They all order the same thing. It's called a middy of Carlton. That's it. The beer is called Carlton. The middy is the size of the drink. Middy of Carlton. That's it, right? So I would stand there. Dad said, Misty, on my first day, he said, this is all you have to do at work. Say, hi, how are you going? What would you like to drink? That's it. That's all you have to do. Every person comes up to the bar, hi, how are you going? What would you like to drink? That's it. Pour them their drinks, take the money, let them go. Righto. So that was how I started. Hi, how are you going? So imagine they're having a break, right? And there's 50 old men lined up at the bar, all wearing white, right? And they get there one at a time. Hi, how are you going? What would you like to drink? Middy of Carlton. Hi, how are you going? What would you like to drink? Middy of Carlton. Pour the beer, take the money, give it over. Hi, how are you going? What would you like to drink? I'd get about 5 or 10 down, and then someone would say, Misty, like one of the old guys would say, Misty, there's only one drink. It's all the same. Hi, how are you going? What would you like to drink? Once they got comfortable with that, and I could do that while pouring the beer, I then could turn around and then say, because the beer become automatically poured as well, was, how was your game today? Or what's the weather like out there? Or is it hot? Are you playing all right? Are you winning? So I could just change the line just a little bit each time and then along the way. So that's how my conversations would start. And then from different bowling clubs that I worked at, I moved out to a small town and I was working at a pub there. And the guy said, your job is to keep them here until they run out of money. Okay, they're allowed to sit at the bar. They're allowed to smoke at the bar. They're allowed to eat at the bar. Your job is to talk to them. Don't let them leave until they run out of money. Okay, and I like my rules. So I'm like, that's what I'll do. What am I going to talk to them about? But I learned it along the way. And mostly, you ask something, you just let them talk and you just join into their conversation. And you just keep them chatting, really. So, yeah, so then that's how I've run it all back through sales training as well, is to just make it very easy and conversational, nothing too difficult, and dumb it right down. You don't need to know heaps of different things about selling. A couple of things. Be able to say what it is that you sell. Be able to say the price. Be silent. Let the other person do the rest of the work. That's it.
I love that. And you have us practice that. And by the time we are through with that 1 hour, we've done it several times and go, gosh, that's easy. And after I've done several different meeting ups with you, it gets easier and easier and easier. You know, just like the starting to talk. Well, I got to learn how to start to talk first.
Yeah.
What do I say first? Okay, I say this. Now I can learn to say this. Now I can go on. Yeah. All those books, and you make it sound so easy.
Yeah, and even with networking, right? I make networking really easy. So we're in school holidays here in Australia, and so we're about to take the kids back to our home town, which is Canberra. We moved away a year and a half ago. It's American terms, 800 miles away. Like literally 800 miles away, right? 2 days drive. And so while the boys are playing with their cousins and Simon's hanging out with his brother, I get to go to ladies' lunches and morning teas. And like I get to plan to go and do all face-to-face networking. One of the girls who I know from networking, in different group, we usually catch up once a year and exchange notes. She said, while you're in town, can you do a training for me for my group? They're new, they're startups, they're sole traders, they're, they're like beauticians and landscapers. They've got a year, they're in this program, this government program where they're learning how to sell. They're anxious about sales, they're anxious about networking, they don't want to do any of it. Well, even my rules for networking is this. First, pick one group, find out when it's on and turn up to that one regularly. And the only thing I want you to do there is say what you sell. That's it. What you sell, how much does it cost, and write down the list of people that you met there. So if it's collect business cards, then at the end, you go back and in a notebook, write down all the names of the people on the business cards. That's it. Do that regularly. If along the way somebody says, so as you do this, let's say it's weekly, right? That's all I want you to do, nothing else. Then along the way, someone will say, hey, can I have a meeting with you, a one-to-one, so I can find out more about you and tell you about me? Say yes. Turn up to that. Listen to them talk about themselves. You tell them about you. That's it. Notice there's no follow-up here. I'm not asking them to follow up. I'm not asking them to do anything. I just want them to practice saying what they sell and their price. That's it. And then listening to people hear what they sell in a one-to-one meeting and then say it themselves. And then once they've done that for a while, they go back over that list. Now I'm going to teach you to follow up on just one little area. Pick one person off the list, call them up and say, can I have a one-to-one meeting with you? I want to find out what you do and I want to tell you about me. That's it. And so this takes a number of weeks. First, you've got to turn up and write the list. And then you get to have a couple of meetings and then you can book in a couple of meetings. But notice all of these things they're a mirror of what we do in business. If you say what you do, which is your elevator pitch and how much it costs, if you look at that, what you do, first you've got to say your name, what you sell, and how much it costs. It goes on a business card. I mean, if you can't say those things, chances are you're not handing out a business card either, in which case nobody knows who you are and where to find you, right? So those are little things, right? And then go to a meeting, someone calls you up and says, hey, can I talk to you more about me and my problems? I mean, that's what a one-to-one is. Can I tell you about me? Can I find out about you? That's someone calling you asking, can I tell you some of my problems? Yes, no problems. So you've got to, as a business owner, you've got to start practicing listening to other people's things. You don't have to solve problems, you just have to listen. And then the one-to-one that you book in is the one where you're going out and saying, hey, I have some ideas. I'm wondering, can I find out more about you and your problems? And can I tell you a little bit about me? So then you're starting to put together a very small sales presentation. So it's practice for when you actually go out, find companies that you want to work for, and you'll practice speaking to them, letting them talk, and you get your words out. So there's little areas to step through, but it's nothing big. Certainly don't do all of it at once. As for turning up to multiple events or inviting visitors, oh, God, that's so far down the track. Don't worry about that. Use everyone else's visitors. Don't bring your own yet. Right? Just turn up to the meetings. So let's simplify the whole thing. And the other thing I teach is it's about you. You're not there to work for everybody else. It'll actually happen by accident. When you listen to someone at a one-to-one, you will end up working for them by accident. Because when you hear what someone else does, so if I have a one-to-one with you, TerryAnn, or even here, I'm going to leave here going, oh, guess what? I'm on a new podcast. I'm going to be on YouTube. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to work for you while I tell everyone to go find me, right? And I'm going to do everything I can, and I'm actually working for you. I'm advertising me, but I'm working for you as well. So we will work for others just by having that meeting. So we don't have to go out of our way to deliberately work for others. It's a result of turning up. It's going to happen anyway. So let go of the things that are going to happen and just concentrate on a couple of tiny little things that you can do and control, and the skills that you have to bring up all by yourself.
I love that. Now, you do have 2 books. You want to hold them up for us?
Sure.
Show us your book. And guess how you can get hold of these books. There's only one way to get hold of these books. Contact Misty.
Yeah, you have to get them via me. They're not on Amazon. They're not in Book Depository. I'm on Book Depository no more. You can't find them anywhere but via me. I don't know. Maybe it's a control thing. But you only get them via me, which means that you have to email me and say, I want a copy of your book. My books are $30. Worldwide, they're $30, free shipping anywhere in the world, and 30 Australian dollars, but free shipping all over the world. So you just send an email and say, can I have a copy of your book? Now, of course, both books I recommend. We've got, the first one was Overcoming Obscurity, so how to get noticed in the marketplace you can make more money. Notice they're not real big. They're deliberately 5 chapters. You only need to know 5 things. It's 5 chapters. It's like 5 sales classes where you read it, I do that, and that's what I do. Okay. And then this is, so it's just 5 sales classes on how to get noticed so you can sell and make more money. The other one is how to go from no sales to sales in 5 easy steps. So this is my second one from last year. Again, it's only 5 chapters, 5 steps on how to go from no sales to sales. So what are the 5 things to do? And so then each one does it. Most people buy this one first. I recommend both. Just get them both at once. You don't have to worry about it. Most people actually get this one first down, and then they call me up afterwards and they go, okay, so give me the second one. Right? So the order becomes this one. If someone was to write to me and say, I don't know the name of your book, but I need it, if it's just one, I'm always going to send out how to go from no sales to sales. That is the first one. And then the second
Wonderful.
one.
Where do you go from here?
Where do I go from here? Okay, so I have a goal. It's only to help 8 million people on the planet. So I'm really starting to get known as the low-cost sales trainer, the one that will do it for like $30, $25 for a coaching session, $150 for, I don't know, it's nearly 6 months worth of sales classes. Come in, it's like a gym timetable, right? You buy a membership for 6 months, so you come to as many classes as you like or can make it to, or, until you learn what you need. So I learned to sell mostly, on the job and through books. All the jobs that I've had, they didn't come with sales programs. So I didn't learn through a sales program. It was just on the job training. And then when I was earning money and the internet came out more, and then I could find sales training, it was generally done at a price that was so big that even I couldn't afford it. And I was a salesman and I couldn't afford it either. So my training came through books and reading things and then testing them out. So I pull the best bits out of every book and then test it out and get the people around me to test it out. And so it's interesting. It's not a coincidence that my prices end up being about the price of a book. But the cool thing about that is no matter what happens during let's take an economic downturn, as it seems like we're heading that way now, right? For $25, $30, you can still get sales help. So you can still have a way to learn to be in charge of your own money, earn your own money. You get the information, you can choose to use it or not, but the information is not just for you to have your own business. It's for you to get the job that you're after. It's for you to get the kids to vacuum the house without yelling at you first. It's to move house and sell everything at a garage sale, and not be upset about people who ask for discounts on all your furniture that you're trying to move out and that you need a certain amount of money. How to sell your house without giving in. You just how to hold your ground sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it works. It's a life skill. So sales is a life skill. But my children, we talk about this. They say, Mum, you should charge more money. And I said, let's have a look at it. If I was a YouTuber, minimum, how many subscribers am I after when I first start a YouTube channel? How many should I be going for as my first goal? And they'll tell you. Do you know what children will tell you as the minimum goal on your YouTube?
What would they tell you?
Have a guess. What do you reckon the amount is?
Okay, a child thinking is probably going to be a high number, like 500.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Less than $1 million, you're not trying, right? It's only a time issue to get to $1 million, but there's plenty of YouTubers who have done it. So it's just a time issue. That's all that it is. It's a video and time issue. Just keep at it. You'll end up getting the subscribers because they've watched young YouTubers start with nothing and watch them go up. Ethan Gamer is my greatest example. He started when he was 7 years old. He's now 15 or 16. And my kids were watching him when he was little, when he was 7. And his first video said, "Hi guys, I'm Ethan Gamer from Ethan Gamer TV. This is my YouTube channel. This is my first video. I'm after 1 million subscribers. I'm starting with 0. So if you like this video, can you just press subscribe and like button?" That was it. That was his video, right? And then it just become a timing issue, right? You know what? It ended up taking him 2 solid years, about 2 years to end up with his 1 million subscribers of doing videos every day and reminding people, press the like button, please subscribe. But it's a time issue, but it's not an issue. There's plenty of people in the world, the children see it. So I say with sales training too, well, I'm after 1 million. The boys go, well, I mean, if you do sales training at, let's say, $25 a coaching session and you have 1 million of them, that's $25 million. Mum, I've gone, yes, I know. And they've gone, that's a lot of money. Yes, I know. Yeah, okay, you probably charge enough. I reckon I do too.
Oh, that is so awesome. I just love it.
Mine's a personal volume thing. I've helped people with products that sell much higher than that. And it's just as easy to, in fact, it's probably easier to sell a higher price product than a low price product because you get a lot of complaints as to why is it so low. The high price ones, why is it so high? But it comes down to a volume thing. I personally want to help, 1 million plus, but I'll head towards 8 billion. Other people don't want that many clients and just want, marginally less. And so therefore there has to be an exchange, right, of price to people. So my time moving forward is to help everybody, be available to help everybody.
Oh, I tell you what, just knowing you in the short time that I have, I can definitely see that in you. Oh, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to check out Misty's LinkedIn, connect with her there. Misty, I did not get your YouTube channel link, so I don't have it up to post. Would you throw it in the chat for me, please? I'm so sorry.
Sure. I can't even work out how to write in the chat. How do I don't know how to write in the chat. But if you Google Misty Henkel and YouTube, it'll come up.
You'll be right up there with Ryan Reynolds.
Google knows who I am. If you just go Misty Henkel YouTube, it's there.
But connect with her through LinkedIn. Drop her an email. Let me tell you, this woman will connect with you. Get those books. I've still got to get those ordered for me. You do have a tea time cup coming, by the way.
I'm so excited by that. I do love my tea cups.
So be sure to connect with Misty. And as long as you're watching, if you're on YouTube, why not click the like button and subscribe?
Subscribe. Yes. My kids say it all the time. I don't think you reminded them to subscribe, Mum.
Subscribe.
Yes. I mean, you've gone to the trouble to look at the video. You may as well just press subscribe. It doesn't hurt you in any way.
What you have shown just really does work with my motto, and that is, oops, wrong thing I'm clicking there. Change your perspective. You've changed in all this, changed my perspective in looking at speaking to others about, but I don't want to sell them anything. So you've changed your perspective. That starts out right away. Now there's new possibilities to explore. Look around there. There's some new pathways opening now. And now you can proceed onto one of those.
Nice.
And I
Nice.
just love the direction you went with that because that definitely is. You've got to change your way that you're starting to do it. And so you start small, you work towards it. I look forward to,
Can I just
hey,
add in one thing? Can I just add in one thing?
yes,
So if you think of sales like this, right? It's
mm-hmm,
not selling for me to say
no,
that I'm a sales trainer. I have sales books. They cost $30. It's advertising. It's
absolutely.
not selling. All I can do is say, well, I have sales books. They cost $30 each, free shipping. After that, I leave the rest to the customer. You know how we buy things, TerryAnn? You ever gone to the grocery store and bought groceries?
Oh, yes.
I mean, you go in and you think, I'm just getting milk. And then you get to the checkout, $50 and a whole bag of stuff. And it's like $50. $50? How did this happen? Here's how groceries sell themselves to us, because nobody's there telling us to do anything, right? They sit on a shelf silently with a price, and we do it all by ourselves. So that is the secret to sales. Like, I mean, really, that's what I've pulled it all down to. If groceries do it silently, so can we. All we have to do is say, this is what it is, this is what it costs, and say nothing. We don't have to explain. We don't have to say anything about it. The person who needs more explanation at a supermarket either picks it up and reads the label, or goes to Google to find out, or calls somebody for a second answer, like which brand should I get? Other than that, they'll make a solid decision. And most of the decisions are right. And every now and then we buy something off the shelf and think, well, that was a mistake. Let's not do that again. It happens, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same. As salesmen, we only have to be a product on a shelf. We only have to be like tomato ketchup. I mean, if I was ketchup and someone was standing in front of me, what I'm really saying mentally into their head is, are you buying sausages? Because if you're not buying sausages, you don't need me. Right? If you're not having a hot dog, you don't need me today. So if you're not having hot dogs, don't buy me. Go get something else. I mean, that's it, right? And by giving permission to the customer to choose, the customer now chooses.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Please be sure to connect with Misty. Give you her email address one last time. Be sure on my YouTube, click like and subscribe. And if you would like to be a guest on Tea Time, contact me through my website. And in the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy that cup of tea. And while Misty starts the rest of her day, I'm going to go wind down and get some sleep.
And if you go get hold of TerryAnn on her website, email me. I'll give you her contact details.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.